I recently competed in a Naga tournament, where after 13 years of doing no competition, I was able to win the black belt division. You can see that video here. But I wasn't the only black belt there enjoying the success. This is Hayden, my friend who's another black belt and has a completely different style where he relies on sitting on his butt and ripping heel hooks. Let's see how well he did in the tournament. The first round of Hayden's tournament begins with a little bit of confusion as Hayden is forced to play on top. But Hayden establishes a strong base and he begins the mental warfare by stretching his opponent's groin out like an OF model. He's trying to keep the legs split so he can pass the guard with an over-under pass, but his opponent off balances him and throws back in his butterfly hooks. Now in order to make the butterfly guard less effective, Hayden transitions his weight forward while keeping his base low. And naturally this gives him the grip he needs so he can start working his body lock passing. Now here's the problem with body locks. They are extremely effective, but at the same time you don't know if you should be watching jiu-jitsu or if you should be watching paint dry. Because body lock passing takes so much time if you're not lube maxing, since the opponent is able to push against you and create frames and you're trying to keep them as pinned as possible. There are guys out there like Nicky Rod that make the body pass extremely effective, but Hayden is looking like Nicky Rod's little sister. Thankfully for all the viewers, Hayden has decided he's going to take a new approach to try and pass this guard. Pay attention to his right leg, how he lifts it up and throws it into headquarters, forcing the position. Then Hayden's going to shift his weight, so when his opponent goes for the underhook, he can switch off into the over-under pass again. With his butt in the air like a donkey, he has enough elevation to go past the guard, but he can't maintain the side control position for 3 seconds to get his points. Now so far this match hasn't been as interesting as watching Deadpool, but the match is going to change the pace really quickly as his opponent is able to elevate Hayden and start working in on his legs. I'm sure John Danaher would give you some fancy Japanese name for what's going on here, but I'm just going to call this a leg pretzel situation. His opponent's able to finally destabilize Hayden and start working him to the ground, but Hayden's going to take this opportunity to go into his bread and butter. He uses butterfly hooks to elevate his opponent and go into single leg X, and now he can destabilize the back leg looking for an outside heel hook on the front leg. This style of jiu-jitsu is like the antichrist to my style, but it's working really well for Hayden as he's able to lock up onto a heel hook. From here, his opponent's under a massive amount of pressure. Any small mistake may mean he won't be able to walk for at least a year. He's trying to heel slip and escape all these grips, but Hayden gets the final adjustment that he needs. Thankfully no one was hurt and Hayden was able to win by submission and a score of 0-0, and he's going to go up against a familiar opponent. During my matches, I went up against another black belt named Josue. I was able to survive his last second footlock attempt and I beat him on points, advancing to the finals. Well, here he is again. He signed up for a second division after mine and he wanted to beat Hayden so he could go for the gold medal. And without saying too much, let's just say Hayden wasn't going to go down without a fight. Yep, it was a fast one. From the tie-up, Hayden was looking to get underneath his opponent, so he shot his foot in under the hips and immediately elevated him, scooping up the leg at the same time. Josue tried to figure four his legs, but because his body was in the air, Hayden was able to pull the feet apart, making his figure four useless. He hooked on the outside of the heel, rotated against his knee, and he quickly took a Josue from the competition and any chances of winning the belt. Great job by Hayden getting the quick submission with a nice heel hook, and there's only one way that was possible. And that's because Hayden gets his supplements from Transparent Labs. Transparent Labs is a supplement company offering you the best products possible with clear ingredients, no filler. If you want to have performances like Hayden, all you need to do is go to transparentlabs.com, use promo code Tyler, and pick out your favorite products. If you want to heel hook the competition just like Hayden, make sure to check out transparentlabs.com. So far up to this point, things have been going really well for Hayden. He's had 2 matches and he's had 2 heel hooks, with neither match taking too much out of him. But now it's time for Hayden to go for first place in his division, and it immediately starts the guard pull from the other guy. But have no fear because Hayden specializes in top control where he doesn't actually do anything, but he looks extremely busy. The first step in Hayden's master plan is that he has to have a strong base and inside frames. This lets Hayden try techniques like a knuckle sandwich using his head because he feels confident that he can't be swept. Step 2. Constantly take grips and peel grips. This shows the referee that you're not actually stalling even if you really are. Step 3 is that if they get any advantage, disengage completely and re-engage on your own terms. Now you look active because you're pushing back into them even though you're really just resetting. And step 4 is really important, but it's moving side to side. Side to side passing has become more popular recently because it looks flashy. You see constant movement and it's way more entertaining to watch than body lock passing. Well shit, looks like I spoke too soon. The other benefit to side passing is that the referee would have to be a communist to call you for stalling, or he's a Brazilian ref from the IBJJF. Hayden's been able to cover some ground with his body lock passing because he's completely flattened his opponent. He's chest to chest and he's finally able to start kicking his leg free so he can pass this guard. Unfortunately, when everything was looking great for him, his opponent did a better job of kicking his leg inside. We can see his left leg is a butterfly hook and he's pushing Hayden away, trying to create some distance. Hayden goes for the reliable of kicking away and trying to re-engage, but his opponent scoops underneath his legs and he's working on an outside heel hook once he can establish a nice single leg X over the hip line. However, Hayden's the superior footlocker, so they just both return to standing. The hardest part to watch in Jiu-Jitsu is the wrestling. But as an update for all of you, I have a new instructional coming with the same Olympian wrestler I had on my channel before, so you can learn to effectively wrestle and not pull guard. And as a side note, I'm so proud of Hayden. He actually went for a wrestling takedown and guess what? It scored him 2 points. That's how effective wrestling is, and you can have it too in your game after my instructional comes out. Now the ref reset them in the middle, and his opponent on bottom had to go if he didn't want to lose this match. Hayden was looking for the same over-under pass, but his opponent kept walking his hips on the ground and his shoulders so he can push him away and recenter his guard. But when he was able to find overhooks, remember Hayden had step 1 accomplished, which is have a strong base. It was around this point I was starting to fall asleep while holding the camera, but I understand when you want to win, you don't always do the most because you want to secure your lead and hold it. For the rest of the match, Hayden danced around in circles to avoid stalling, reminded me why I desperately need a new character on the channel like Basalt's Ben with his non-stop energy, and he even showed off his nonchalant attitude about heel hooks. His opponent is scooping underneath the ankle trying to get any exposure he can over heel, but as he spins through, Hayden just kind of kicks his leg and he goes back to tactical stalling. And while maybe it wasn't the most entertaining match, it definitely takes a lot of energy constantly moving around both on bottom trying to pull Hayden in and trying to pass at the same time. So congrats to Hayden on the win. I'm happy that both of us won, and it sounds like I'll be doing more competitions in the future.